Hey there, Munchie Mafia. So things have been a little chaotic in my world. Had a really bad migraine yesterday, and today I had to sit through um, two certification exams. So we're just kind of playing it by ear right now. I passed, by the way. Yay, go me. Huh, that's so sweet, Timmy. and So I was really wanting to do pierogies really bad, but with the current state of things around here, um, I'm a little worn out. So we're gonna just go with the easy one, and that's the tater tot casserole. And what we're going to need is a pound of ground beef. Now, whether or not you like mushrooms, you don't have to. I love mushrooms, so sliced mushrooms and some about half of a large sweet onion. We're also going to need tater tots, of course, sweet peas, some garlic and fresh herbs, more fresh herbs, 1 can of beef broth, and it's up to you if you want to top with tomato or top it with tomatoes and then put the tater tot casserole on or the tater tots on top. That's up to you. And then half and half. I like to use half and half because I really like the creamy factor that it has. And of course, 1 stick of butter. I don't know why I grabbed two, but we got two. Oh, that's right. I'm gonna make some asparagus to go with this. So let's get this all. Oh, I forgot to turn the stove on. All right, so we're going to get some olive oil into the pan. We're going to saute our vegetables and then add our meat. This is kind of a sort of a one pot thing, but not quite. I have our oven preheated to 425 or 400 degrees. Bring our ingredients over here. Oh, we're also going to be using some port wine as well. We're also going to need a half cup of all-purpose flour. Now, for those that are gluten-free, use cornstarch or arrowroot or potato starch, but also at the same time check your tater tots before you purchase them because some of them do contain flour. And if you're allergic to eggs, keep that in mind as well, that sometimes they use egg as a binder. So always check your labels so that accidents don't occur. So we're going to get this all ready to rock and roll. We're going to use a Pyrex 13 by 9 by 2 inch pan. So it's kind of sort of a one pot wonder in that it's going to be eventually cooked in this baby. Of course, you don't want to forget to put some oil in your pan. And I always do these as one pot sort of things because I'm too lazy to wash dishes. Timmy will attest to that because usually after these shows, it's like I'm going back to work on Tuesday and he's got an entire kitchen to clean up. So I went and bought some. I didn't like the look of their mushrooms at the store, so the ones in the package that are already pre-sliced looked a lot better. So I bought those instead because I do love mushrooms, but I don't like ugly mushrooms. And unfortunately, you can't always control how thick they're going to slice these damn things. So thankfully, they're very easy to just go in and just chop up with a wooden spoon. I bought a new set of wooden spoons on Temu to give them a try, and they're actually kind of cool. They're a lot better quality than I thought they were going to be. I was kind of expecting them to be like the thickness of a toothpick. But these actually are pretty nice. So the certification exam that I had to take was Serve Safe. food managers, and I let mine expire because I was told a while back by somebody with the health department that came out to do an inspection when they asked for a food manager's certificate. I said, well, I've got mine. So I pulled it out and they're like, oh, it's about to expire pretty soon. I said, yeah, I have to go and retake the class because it's one of those things you only have to take every 5 years or something like that. And so they're like, oh, well, the state of Washington doesn't recognize that specific exam. So we would, the one that we do recognize is this one. So you're going to need to take this one. And I'm like, okay, well, why is that? Because there's so many companies out there that are corporate that are expecting you to have the ServSafe certification. And they're like, well, that's up to the company, but we don't recognize that. You have to take ours instead. And I figured, it's probably just another one of those stupid cash grabs by the state. But I got that all taken care of today. All right, so these are looking kind of nice. We want to make sure that these onions and mushrooms are cooked until they're softened. Onions are a bit translucent. It's really beginning to smell really nice. Now, some of the ingredients that you can put in this, it's entirely up to you. Some people just put salt and pepper. Some people put a whole bunch of other stuff in there. I'm just going to go with my tried and true Old Bay seasoning just because I really love the flavors that it has, because it's got celery salt and red pepper and black pepper and paprika in it and some other things. But I just love it. So we're going to go with that. So next week we'll hopefully be back to our regular routine of having other videos coming up. But in the meantime, we've got some birthdays coming up here. Or actually a couple that have already passed. You gonna run? All right. Thank you, Timmy. So happy belated birthday to Killing It and Grilling It and Paste and Emma. We're missing another one, and it occurred to me that we were forgetting about the food boat. Derek's birthday is coming up, but we're going to do his on the following weekend, or this upcoming weekend. So keep an eye out for that one. That one's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so now we got our butter going with our ground beef. We're going to get our ground beef all nice and browned up. Now I'm all for adding flavor and building those layers. So we're going to just go for that. And then we're going to go for our, this is Italian herbs and crushed garlic. I need a spoon. These are those pastes that come in a little tube. I love this stuff. And like I said, those Gourmet Gardens, you could just throw them right into the freezer after you're done and pull it out when you need them. So it might cost a little bit. Actually, the Italian herb one is actually fairly cheap, considering that if you don't use all of your fresh herbs, they're just going to go to waste anyway. And who needs to buy a large amount of some of those herbs when you can just buy one of those tubes and just squeeze out what you need as you need it. works perfect for people that are like, two-person household like us. We're empty nesters. Our kids are gone, but I like to cook larger, slightly larger meals so that they stretch out for a few days. We don't mind eating the same thing over and over and over again. Wow, this is starting to really smell really delightful. And we're almost there. So our butter is in there. And I still see a little bit of pink. We want to make sure that we get that cooked out because ground beef is no joke. One of the things on the Serve Safe certification is, all the different pathogens that causes food poisoning. And I remember back in the day when there was that massive E. coli incident that happened here in Washington State involving Jack in the Box. Lot of serious problems. But my other certification was another Serve Safe, but it was for allergens, which, do I really need to study that if I have allergens? My boss was like, "Well, that was fast." I go, "Yeah, well, if you could turn the speed up to 1.5 times, 2 times, and just let it do its thing and answer the stupid questions in between modules, it's not a big whoop." Okay, so now we're making our roux. This is one of my little shortcuts. I'll just let this do its thing. Let it relax a little bit. Turn the heat down a little. I'm not sure exactly where Tater Tot Casserole came from, but I know that likely it's a Midwest sort of thing. I've seen a lot of different variations to it. One with bacon, one without bacon. Now, if you're one of those types that doesn't like to eat beef or is looking for something that's a little bit more cholesterol friendly, you can use other ground meats or vegetarian ground meat substitutes. As far as ground meat substitutes that are vegetarian or vegan, the ones that I recommend is made by Quorn, and it's spelled Quorn. They got some of the best fake beef crumbles. And you just, put your vegetables in there and away you go. Okay. There. Now we got our meat. I'll let that pork cook down a little bit. And then we're going to bring over our half and half in our beef stock. We're going to start with our beef stock. Just 1 can of beef stock. Or chicken stock if you're doing chicken, or if you're doing vegetarian, you can definitely use the vegetable stock. And if you have a dairy intolerance, you definitely can use a milk substitute for that as well. I do not recommend coconut. Coconut tastes a little weird. Hemp is very weird. I prefer oat when it comes to doing that, but I like to suffer a little bit for my food. So now I'm going to wait until we see a couple little bubbles happening in here. That'll tell us that this is getting nice and warm and happy. Smelling really delicious. We're going to want our parsley and our green peas. This is also a great way to hide vegetables in things. If you've got some picky children, it's a great way to hide vegetables. And the problem is you want to make sure if you're going to hide vegetables in this to choose the vegetables that are kind of neutral in flavor, that doesn't have a very strong punchy flavor to them, because kids will know. And one of the ones that I like to use is cauliflower. You can also throw some carrots in here and little bits of kale or little bits of spinach. Just tell them, hey, it's basil. It's an herb. Usually they fall for it. Okay, so now we're going to get that going. Now one bag of sweet peas for that. And we're just going to let this do its thing for a few moments. You'll also want to adjust. Now, if you also like bell peppers, you could definitely put bell peppers in it. It's entirely up to you. Oh, and I'm also going to put a little dash of Worcestershire if I can find it. It's in here somewhere. Worcestershire, there it is. Just a little dash. Just a dash. When I say a dash, I mean like 10 little droplets. And we're just going to let this get thickened up. Woof. And so other vegetables that you can put in there is zucchini and the yellow squash if you want. Green beans. All right, so we're starting to thicken. Now I prefer half and half in mine. So I really like the mouthfeel, but you can definitely use milk or a milk substitute. Now, when it comes to making roux that's gluten-free, I strongly recommend using arrowroot or potato starch or a combination of the two. One of the things I don't like about using cornstarch is, number one, it's corn. Number two, it can get kind of, I don't know, it can get kind of weird looking. The texture is just kind of not quite right. All right. All right, let's give this a taste. See if we need to adjust it. Of course we do. Salt. Where's my pepper mill? There's my pepper mill. Give it some pepper. I've seen some tater tot casseroles where you just kind of tossed them all in. Some that just laid them down on the bottom. Some that had them on the top. Who's right? I mean, it's tater tot casserole. You can't really go wrong. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this like that. We're going to put some on the bottom. And you're basically just going to line the pot or your baking pan with tater tots. I think, I don't know. What do you think? Probably just on the top, huh? Because they're gonna get mushy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna get mushy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We're gonna wait on that. Sorry, guys. Not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. All right. It's been a while since I've made this. Now you can definitely use a lot more beef stock and less milk if you wanted. Make it more like a cream gravy. It's up to you. It's gonna be yours. So make it your own. And definitely add carrots. I'm not a fan of carrots, so you're not gonna be seeing me putting carrots in mine. All right. Get Mr. Ladle out. All right, so this just needs just a little bit more time. But while we're at it, we're gonna give it another taste, see how it tastes. Yes, I'm double dipping, but it's just the two of us, so a little pinch more salt. There we go. Also, if you're really having a problem with budget, you can also use the family size cream of mushroom or cream of celery soup. Just hit it with a little bit of water as well. That's perfectly fine as well. You got to think of it's one of the things that um been trying to promote is budget friendly, working within your own personal budgets and try not to be too bougie while being bougie at the same time. All right. And we got really good thickening happening here. We're just going to give it another few more stirs, and then we're going to start putting it into our pan, pop it in the oven, and then come back in a little bit and check on it. So the oven directions for this is preheat the oven to 450 for 20 to 26 minutes. Now we are turning the oven down because we don't want the creaminess to burn. So we're gonna leave it in for probably about 20 minutes, 15 or 18 to 20 minutes. Then we're gonna top it with some cheese and then put it back in the oven until that cheese is nice and golden brown. Let's start going for it here. I might have put a little too much cream in it. That's okay. Now we don't want to go too high up because it will bubble over and burn in the bottom of your oven. And depending on whether or not your oven likes you, could start a fire. So we're going to actually take this over to the big counter so you can see how we're laying it all out. All right, there we have that. Now we're just going to open up our tater tots and we're just going to just plop them down nice and gently right on the very top. And we're just going to just keep lining it all in rows over the top. Now, one of the other things that you can do is you can make this a breakfasty one by using breakfast sausage and making a country gravy, sausage gravy, and then throw in some bacon and then top it with your tater tots Don't put the peas in though, that's kind of weird, but mushrooms are okay. You can also do bell peppers. And then you line it with your tater tots and you serve it with just some scrambled eggs or however way you want your eggs. So this whole bag should work for a 13 by 9 by 2. Oops. I mean, what kid doesn't like tater tots, right? Especially if it's covered in cheese. And it's basically, you can make it into a breakfast casserole that way. Just kind of almost like what I'm doing here right now, but we're not going to have egg. Yeah, and it's got hamburger. Although in some areas, hamburger gravy is a big thing. You know, one of the places I used to work at, we had a large, very popular breakfast menu, and I'd never really seen ground beef gravy ever. I didn't know that was really a thing, but it's like we had it on the menu and couldn't when I started working there as the executive chef. I was like, oh, that just doesn't sound right, and I don't know, it just wasn't my thing personally. All right, just kind of fill in whatever void you got there with the last of it. I mean, there's no sense in saving, you know, 7 tater tots. All right, there. Ugh. Now I got all that going. I'm gonna move my stool out of the way. We're gonna stick this in the oven, and we're gonna come back in about 20 minutes to give it a once over. Into the oven we go, and we'll see you in a little bit. We've passed the 20-minute mark, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start coating this bad boy with some cheese. We're looking a little on the blonde side, but that's okay. Probably could have gone a little longer, but it's cheese, man. It's cheese. Try to get it all covered up as best as humanly possible. You know, it all depends on how much cheese you want to use or how little. If you want to just do a little sprinkle, or if you want all the cheese, you can do all the cheese. I'm not doing all the cheese. I'm gonna kind of go medium on this. I see a little spot here that's a little barren. Now, one of the things with cheese, when it melts, it tends to want to pull inward. So kind of go light, a little lighter in the middle, because all that's just going to go that way. Now we're going to take some bacon bits. Because we got to have bacon bits. And we're going to put a whole bunch of them on there. Now, it's up to you if you want to put sliced tomato and then pop it back in the oven. But you would cover them with sliced tomato. Maybe we'll do half of it with tomato. How's that sound, Timmy?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's scoot this baby over for a second. And get my pre-washed tomatoes. Half, or should I do all of them? Wait, half? Okay. So these are just Roma tomatoes. One of the other things you could do is you could put some slices of apple on top. If you're going with the bacon, that is. So Timmy's not a fan of tomato, but that's okay because I like tomato. Tax. All right. Mm. So tomato season in Washington has actually been pretty good. It's been pretty dry around here. Um, we did get some rain last week. All right, I think that's half. That looks like half. So, mm. Now we're gonna go put it back in the oven. We're gonna give it another 12 minutes, and then we'll be right back for the grand finale. All right, everybody. See you in a little bit. All right, so now we're back to this again, and it's nice and bubbly, and the cheese is melty. The tomatoes are nice and cooked. And here we go. There we have it. Oh my goodness, it smells so rich and so beautiful. All right. Put these away. Forgotten that I got new tongs for Christmas a while back. Found them in a box. I don't know how they got there instead of going straight to my kitchen. All right. Let's pop this baby out. Nice and bubbly. And
in that bowl.
what? No. Air. There's air in the bowl.
Oh, it's on the screen.
Oh, it's on the screen? Okay. We good now?
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't want tomato, right?
No.
All right. Let's dig in. Oh, look at that. That's just gorgeous. Oops. A little saucy, but that's okay. I like mine a little on the saucy side. So this is Timmy's because he doesn't like tomato much. Right? You don't want tomato, right?
I don't want tomato.
Okay. But I do because I like tomato. I like cooked tomatoes, especially when they're nice and fresh like that. All right. And there we have it. Tater Tot Casserole, or at least my version of it. It's funny because I was sitting in on a meeting at work today, or a district meeting, and they were talking about Tater Tot Casserole in the meeting, and I started to laugh because that's what we were having today. So I'm going to pop on over here and give you the money shot. There we have it. Tater Tot Casserole. All right, Munchie Mafia. So sorry it's not live today, but I'll see you very soon. So don't forget to always cook with love and eat with passion. Have a good night, everybody.